Grace and peace. I'm gonna y'all know me with this phone cutting off. I said I'm gonna jump on here. Shalom. I said I'm gonna jump on here for a little while before I have to go to this class. Somebody asked me, just do me a favor, type one in there. If y'all can hear me. Somebody asked me this morning because they heard me making a statement. Okay, Rome, I see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. That's John Dean there. Good to see you. Somebody hit me yesterday. I said I'm gonna jump on here for a little while before I gotta go to class and church and everything else. Somebody hit me yesterday. Good to see you, Pastor Mike, about me and talking about the Sabbath. Talking about, well, if you know better, Berean, if you read and you know better, why do you keep Sunday? And I don't really know what people mean when they're talking about keeping Sunday and keeping the Sabbath and all of that stuff. I think some people are confused with that. Like Adam and Eve went to church on they went to church on Saturday. So we're gonna talk about the Sabbath and the whole purpose of the Sabbath. I'm in church every day right now. I'm in church every day, and I'll be in church every day for the rest of the year, every single day, 7 times a week. And there was a lot of people, like I said, growing up in church. A lot of people were in church three times a week, 2, 3, 4 times a week. If I miss church for months and then I turn around and I go to church every single day for a whole year, what difference does it make? So we're going to talk about days and days of worship, stuff like that. But I want to talk about giving the white man back his book. We'll often hear that nonsense. We'll often hear that nonsense from a lot of people in the conscious community. They'll turn around and tell us the Bible is not our book. Get a white man back his book. And I'm going to tell you, I really got a problem with that. It hurts me. It hurts me to hear that. And the reason that it hurts me to hear that is that after they start talking and you speak to people like that for a while, they'll turn around and they'll start giving you sources that come from white people. That's what hurts me. That hurts me the most. I have not met anyone in the conscious community talking that nonsense about the Bible is the white man's book. No white man wrote no Bible. They can't show and prove that, but I can show and prove the white man wrote Kersey Graves, or who was European, wrote 16 crucified saviors. They're going with pseudo nonsense. Somebody hit me and said, "Yo, can't you see it's crazy how they stuff you were saying years ago. Garfield is saying it, and a lot of people trying to say now he a down low Christian. They throwing shots at Garfield after that whole debate with Jabari and Dr. Vince Bantu, Garfield and Unc and them got in touch with me, and they were talking about crucified saviors and all of this stuff. They knew a bunch of that stuff was nonsense, and I was surprised. I'm saying these guys got to be pushing an agenda, because why would they push Jabari to go up there if they knew Garfield and other people had this information? I'm always looking deeper at stuff. They said, man, we all know that pseudo right there, and we were telling Jabari don't go up there playing itself and such, because they were trying to figure out how to approach it. I ain't gonna get into the whole thing. Of course, the debate is over, but it's funny that Garfield's coming out. They love Garfield. He's a boss, and he put good work in the conscious community, but when he start coming out and telling them truth, these books are garbage that y'all are talking about the Bible, and then he go get atheist PhD Richard Carrier. He got bosses coming on now, and he's doing some stuff, and he's trying to take them to a higher level. They got the nerve to want to be mad. A lot of people out here, they're not doing research. They don't want research. What they want to do is they don't like white people. That's all this thing is about. But if you're moving in blind hatred, you're playing yourself, and a lot of people don't understand that. And it's part of a bigger agenda. Y'all's book is truth. This book we got ain't nothing to play with. That's how come I don't quote that book a lot. I don't throw my pearls to the swine dealing with these folk right here. Good to see you, Sun Kiss. So when they start telling us that the Bible is not our book, they got to show and prove that. But when they show and prove, they won the Kersey Graves, 16 crucified savior. They won the Gerald Massey, Ancient Egypt, Light of the World, and Book of Beginnings. They run to all of that nonsense. Translations by Sir Wallace Budge. They run straight to white people books. Why do they do that? Because the New Age movement is connected with the conscious community. This is occultism. This is occultism. This is religion without God. And this is what everybody is pushing in the New World Order. This is what they're pushing in the last days. This is the religion of the Antichrist. And then the one great mystic with his third eye open is going to come and deceive many. Rich speak about it. The book that blowed him up is the book they telling us not to read. And the enemy has tailored the New Age movement for Europeans differently than he's tailored it for us. He's tailored it for us out of our hurts. So we got to be careful with this nonsense. Ain't nobody playing with these dudes in this nonsense. A lot of people hear me use the word pagan and occultism. Occultism is a creedless spirituality. It's a godless spirituality. Who had some occultism? And we got many modern occultists, people that were involved in it, and it's sorcery, manipulating and causing things to happen for you outside of deity, outside of Yah, outside of the Most High, outside of commandments. Do what you want, fornicate, but know how to manipulate the celestial powers to bring you blessings. Napoleon Hill was born the early 1900s. I think he died in 1970. He wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich. And pastors that don't know any better, rich people, business people, start dealing with Napoleon Hill's book. He met a girl back in the days. I ain't gonna go through his whole life, but he met a young girl back in the days, and she turned around and she said she was pregnant. She said she was pregnant. His mom's died, and his father remarried, and this lady started teaching him certain things. She gave him a typewriter. She said, "You got to use your creative mind." He was kind of a little traumatized with church a little bit, but they said, she told him, "Give me a 6-shooter, give me a gun, and I'm going to give you a typewriter. Use your creative mind to bring what you want." So he was one of the leaders in the mind science and how to tap into the great consciousness of the world. And then later on, he goes on to meet Carnegie. The guy, Carnegie Hall in Manhattan, New York City, is named after him. Rich guy. And Carnegie said, "Come and work for me for 20 years. Come work for me for 20 years, and I'm going to introduce you to all my rich friends, all my French bosses, this and that." And that's how he wrote his popular book that a lot of people are following today. But it was built on what we would call the occult sciences and the science of positive thinking. Positive thinking is training your own spirit, and it was one period. It was one subject that was taught in the mystery schools coming out of Kemet, coming out of Babylon. You don't need deity. Your deity, you can train your own spirit. Nimrod and them had a kind of school like that also, and they just connect with beings that would teach them higher doctrines about how the spirit man operates. And then when we go to the Tower of Babel and the people, they weren't really trying to build the tower all the way to heaven. They were trying to connect with beings. We listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to connect and we're going to honor these beings that's bringing down knowledge to mankind. And that's where a lot of that stuff come from. It's creedless. The religion that's coming is creedless. Jesus isn't no son of God. Nobody thinking about that. You don't have to keep no commandments. Nobody thinking about that. Whatsoever thou wilt, what that you want to do it. And that's the whole of the law. Aleister Crowley, do what you want to do. You're a spiritual being, and you can make things happen, and you communicate in the spirit realm, and you can train your spirit to do things to bring you wealth, to do things for you. Train your mind apart from God. Now, a lot of people say, well, what's wrong with that? Forget the fact that Rich said, "In him we live and move and have our being." Forget about that. What's the chief end of man? Forget about that. Just do what you want. And we're spiritual beings. And the whole world is moving towards that. Hollywood is moving towards that. The conscious community is moving towards that. These things are all interconnected together. When we say creedless, they don't want any doctrines that Jesus is the way, the truth. And that divides people. That divides Islam, because Islam teaches that Allah has no son, and our creed teaches that God has a son, and that's problems. We got to get rid of the creeds. True spirituality is to do away with all creeds. And then Blavatsky and so many people, their job, their thing is to tell everybody, we got to get rid of Christianity that stands on the creed that Jesus Christ is the Son of God and he's the only way to salvation. We got to destroy that nonsense. We got to destroy that whole book. The most popular book, the Bible now, the most popular book and the instructions from the God of Israel to worship him, and besides him there is no other. We have to destroy that. So the things that came up, the things that make us unique as a people following this book, they want to bring it down in the name of spirituality. But the problem is with the preachers and a lot of people, they have to understand that only God is going to open up eyes of these folks so they can know what's what. Only the Most High God can do that, because there's a people that's going and they're dealing with certain things. So they'll give you, forget about God, they're tapping you into the universal mind. The universal mind is just part of the planet and part of the trees, and you can talk to the cat and the dog and the universal mind, or the consciousness of self and being one with the universe. That is not deity. That's not Yah. That's not the God of the Bible. But that's energy. That's what the planet is made up from, and that's coming from what we would call the school of the spirit. And it's a lot of people. There's a lot of people dealing. There's a lot of people dealing with that. And that's the science. That is the new religion, and that's the direction in which they're going. And we're going to see more of it. It's interesting. I think that's what somebody just posted up there in Acts. When individuals got saved, they had books dealing with the arts, dealing with the occult, dealing with seances and talking to the spirits and all that. They had books dealing with all of that. Do me a favor, put the time in there for me. They had books dealing with all of that. And when they turned to the God of Israel, they turned around, and the occult books cost money. Occult books are like medical books. They cost money if it's written by people that's deep in the cult, that tell you how to tap into the spiritual realm. Thank you, Rome. Tap into the spiritual realm. And the books cost money. And they said that they brought the books together and they burnt the books. We gonna get rid of all of this stuff for the God of Israel, for the God of the Bible. We've been duped. We've been deceived. We've been dibbling and dabbling that, but we gonna put that thing down and we done with it. It's so funny how people right now, and like I said, it hurts me when you start talking about Think and Grow Rich and Napoleon Hill, and you got pastors giving you the energy of the doctrine of the power of the mind. It's all within you. Whatever you want. Whatever you want is in you, and you think it, and you name it, and you claim it, and you call it forth to yourself. Do what you want to do. Live any way you want to live, and you got the power to make life happen for you. Now, when we start reading and comparing it with the Bible, that's where we have a problem. Remember yesterday, thank you, Rome, you said deception. Remember yesterday we were talking about God as a king and he has a kingdom. Jesus, this great kingdom we talking about here, he said, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Folk ain't thinking about God and God's kingdom. Folk thinking about the kingdom of this world to do what they want to do, because remember, that's what the enemy said. That's the enemy's doctrine. Satanism, like Anton LaVey said, Satanism isn't so much putting down a pentagram and calling, oh, hey, great Satan, and calling on Satan and hell. And saying, no, that's just one element of Satanism. The other element of Satanism is do what thou will. Do your own thing. Don't think about God. That is Satanism. That's Satanism in its fullest. And we have a lot of Satanism running around here, but it's disguised. As you get the bag, you get the money. You be all you can be. That's what it is. Sad to say, don't think about God, live your life, and at the end of your life, I'm gonna ride it out till the casket drop. And we're being taught this everywhere. That's part of spirituality. So nobody out here, you hear them when they go to awards, nobody out here is not spiritual. There ain't but a few atheists. Atheists don't even get no shine from you. It ain't but a few atheists. Everybody's acknowledging that they're spiritual beings. So we talk to the people in the conscious community. They acknowledge that they're spiritual beings, but they don't want to give Yah no praise. They don't want to give God no praise. Oh, they don't mind talking about spirituality and astral travel and the power of the third eye, and when you're smoking weed and chakras and what ayahuasca, and the ancient Egyptians knew that they could travel and all of this stuff, but ain't one of them thinking about God. They thinking about different manifestations of self so they can get out here and do what they want. Travel, have sex magic. You got to raise your chakra. You get you with a bad honey and light some candles and y'all create the magic. You know, that's what we say when in, MTV Cribs, they showing people rooms and it's the bedroom. This is where the magic happened. That's where it comes from, magical sex. Conscious community and the African American community have it a little different than John Dee and the mystics in Europe that deal with sex, that Aleister Crowley and them that deal with sex and raising your energy and freaking and all of that stuff and calling down. They said when you get ready to bust orgasm, when you get ready to have an orgasm, you gotta say it. And then the occultists were saying certain things because they believed energy was being drawn. So they'd say, oh God, oh God. A lot of people having sex and they call God name at time of orgasm. They were all doing this stuff for a reason. This stuff isn't nothing new. It's nothing new. But it's crazy because, like I said, a lot of this stuff crept up in the church and just in the name of just think positive. And if you think positive, it'll come to you. You can make it come to you. I want to open up a beauty parlor visualization. I got to see my beauty parlor. I got to see me in that S-Class. I got to see me in that new truck. I got to see me riding on them 30s. I got to see me with that bag. And I see it and I call it and I get up in the morning. I don't give God glory. This is the day that forget all of that nonsense. Let me get up and I can see the bag and I visualize the bag and I stand in the mirror and I'm brushing my teeth. This is my day. I'm going to get money. And I speak it into existence. I talk it into the universe. It ain't nothing but witchcraft. Some people call it witchcraft. Other people say it's just the power. It's the power of the human soul, and we're in the universe, and we're tapped in the universe, and we're calling energies unto ourselves to make the things manifest. And I ain't got to be getting up and praying, thanking God for another day, and all of that stuff because He gave me life. It's just energy out here. It's just energy out here. So now they flip the script, and God is not a personal individual, a personal being, and God is just source. He's just the energy. He's part of the universe. And that ain't nothing but ancient Hinduism, a cult from Hinduism. That's occultism. That's old as the Garden of Eden. That's old as a serpent. That's been around for a long time, and this is what people are pushing, and they're pushing it in the name of spirituality. So we got people that's spiritual, and they don't, and the thing that's hurtful when it comes into church, when it comes to Bible believers that have degrees, that's preaching and teaching, they don't believe in going among people and preaching repentance. You must be born again. You must change your life. You must accept the God of Israel. They don't, I got to teach any of that stuff. You're spiritual, I'm spiritual. We're all on journeys. We're all part of the universal mind. The great mind. Close your eyes, everybody. We're part of the universal mind. It ain't no sense in prayer. You don't need to pray. You're a spirit. I'm a spirit. We're all spirits. It's madness, and they pushing it with a black spin on it. All right, y'all. Y'all know what it is. Berean Teach, $ Berean Teach. We appreciate y'all. BereanTeach.com. Hit me to Gmail. Sunday, y'all already know. Sunday, we going into all of the books. Well, I'm going to start off. We're going through about 80 of the books of the Bible, where those books come from, in a general overview of every single individual book. I don't care if people are offended. There are other books out here that people on the other side of the planet read that you may not read, and they call it Bible. And they attempt to draw spiritual knowledge from it, so we have to talk about these things. And there's more and more people that's coming against us and talking about books and canon and councils, and they threw this out, they put this in, so people are curious. So people going to go looking for things, and they're putting a magical spin on books. The books that they left out are the books that tell you about your higher self. Those are the books that left out, and those are the Gnostic books. They're bringing everybody together. They're bringing everybody together. They doing what they do, and it's hurtful because it's, they're slick, and I just never expected the church to participate in it. They say I bang on the church, but I'm not banging on the church. I'm calling out Hinduism. I'm calling out the occult doctrine, and the occult doctrine is in the church. The occult doctrine is steeped in Pentecostalism, name it and claim it in visualization. And we're going to talk about that stuff, energy. How much energy and power did Adam and Eve have when they can work? Because occultists teach, like on Annie Besant and them, that was the second of the Theosophical Society, they teach that this power was given to Adam and Eve, and this is the school of Enoch. This is the original school of spirituality. God just came once in a while. They don't talk to God. He's just a great alien. He's just a great deity that gave us the powers to see if we can walk through this life and make it to graduate and go back to where we all come from. We all aliens. We all gods. That's all it is. We're just gods having an earthly experience. But like I said before, why would God come down here with earthquakes, with cancer, with COVID-19? Why would God come into this body, especially these black bodies, to be beat up by police? It's nonsense. It's madness, and we done ran amok with the spirituality. All right, y'all, I'm going to holler at y'all later.